When was the last time you truly listened to someone? Not just wait for your turn to speak, but genuinely hear their story, even if you disagree. This week, on our season finale, we explore the power of listening and embracing diverse perspectives with a guest who's made a career out of connecting with others and having a blast along the way. American actor, director and musician Richard Speight Jr. is our guest this week. Born in Nashville, Tennessee and now living in LA, Richard's infectious charm and genuine curiosity have endeared him to fans and colleagues alike. From his roles in Supernatural and Band of Brothers, to his work behind the camera and on stage with his band Dick Jr. and the Volunteers, Richard's warmth and wit shine through in everything he does. But it's not just about the roles he plays or the music he makes. It's about the connections he fosters and the joy he brings to every interaction. We chat more about this and also the importance of building relationships and connecting with people in the creative industry. We'll explore the value of embracing flaws and imperfections in storytelling and art, as well as the impact of social media on self-esteem and the need for authenticity. We'll reflect on how far we've come since the 1970s, the lessons we can learn from past mistakes, and the loss of boredom and its impact on creativity and personal growth. We'll also explore the depth of connection and understanding that in-person interactions provide, in contrast to the limitations of being online. And throughout it all, we'll discuss why it's so important to have a sense of fun and perspective when being creative. This season is proudly sponsored by MPB, the world's largest platform for buying, selling and trading used photo and video equipment. Whether you're upgrading your gear or streamlining your collection, MPB offers instant quotes, free shipping and speedy payments. Visit mpb.com to explore its wide range of camera essentials today. Now, the whole point of this episode, Richard, is about fun and like how that is the fuel for your creative spark. 'Cause you're a very creative person, but you're also really fun. And I get the impression that that has kind of been the general theme of your career. Like you're talking about your sons and like your sisters and how you sort of fared well. I think by the sounds of things, it sounds like you kind of learned pretty early on that it was about the people and the relationships that you made that would sort of, you know, help you propel and do well in life.
Yeah. I like people. And that's not just to say I'm a nice guy, because I don't think I always am, but I'm drawn to people. I'm drawn to the energy of other people. In the same way you and I had a conversation in a LAX bar based on a phone case. I just tend to want to engage with people. And maybe that's because somewhere deep down in my psychology, I want to be engaged with. So I figure if I throw the ball, maybe they'll play catch with me. Like I'm like a kid in the park. If I walk up and just go like that and stand there, maybe they'll roll the ball back to me. I don't know, but it has been a fundamental facet of of who I am. You know, I think back. My wife and I will talk about this every now and then. Once we started having kids and sort of examining kids and children and childhood from the perspective of parents, and like, I'm going to say this with a giant caveat of I don't judge any parent or kid or whatever for whatever journey they're on, how they deal with stress, anxiety. Everybody has their own thing and seeks help in various ways. But I feel like I'm the kind of kid that probably would have been medicated today. You know what I mean? Like I was bouncing off the walls and couldn't really focus on stuff, but I wasn't bad. Does that make sense? I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't disruptive in a negative way. I was goofy and fun and sort of still tried to live in a upbeat energy. I mean, look, inevitably, and you know this because you're an upbeat person and you have, you know, probably upbeat friends, but to every up, there's a down. There's always dark periods. And, you know, sometimes the saddest people you know are also the funniest people you know. Yeah. Look at stand-up comics. A lot of times they're not exactly joyous off stage.
It's true.
But they find their joy in being able to stand in front of 400 or 4,000 people and show their dirty laundry. or whatever they do. And I think that in a poor man's version of that, because I'm not a stand-up comic and that kind of performer, I find a sort of freedom and catharsis in that, in being able to connect to people, talk to people, and listen. I enjoy actually hearing people have to say. And have you ever been around people who are funny, but you can tell that they're listening to you, waiting to make a comment, as opposed to listening to you to absorb it? It's an interesting,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes. They're waiting for the opportunity to sort of get their input in rather than actually just be in the moment and listen to you.
Correct. And I know some folks like that because I got a lot of performer buddies. And I find that, doesn't mean they're bad people, but I find that energy exhausting because you sense their desire to comment versus absorb and comment. And I think, at least maybe as I get older, I'm a good absorber.
Yes. I would definitely say that 100%. And I'd like to think I was that way as well, because, it's just nice hearing other people's stories. I'm not really bothered about telling other people what I'm doing or who I am. It's just so much more interesting to hear what others have to say. Do you know, does that make sense?
100%.
Doesn't mean I'm putting myself down there at all.
No, I don't take it that way. And I think it makes total sense. I mean, I know we're here to talk about fun, so me talking about politics is not fun. And I'm not going to talk about politics, but the concept of politics to me is like, I'm from the South, which is largely a conservative area, but I'm also from Nashville, which is a mixed bag of like artsy people and, it's kind of a hodgepodge. I've always prided myself in being able to have any conversation with anybody, even if it's not what I think myself.
Yeah.
I think there's a lost art to that.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. There's no nuance anymore. It's like, I can't be friends with you because your opinion is not something I agree with. I mean, that's just poor show.
Oh, yeah.
The world is just strange.
It is strange. And I think when you do that, you cut off an entire swath of people who are interesting, who are smart, who have a journey, who have arrived at their opinion through honest and honorable means, whether you agree with it or not.
Exactly.
And so respecting the difference of opinion and respecting that opinion is not going to change based on your conversation is, I think, a lost skill in engaging, in humans engaging with each other. And I like, acting, music, entertainment in any way brings people together who are not from the same town. We're not from the same place. We might be driven by the same goal, which is to tell our story or to paint a picture or to, shoot a photo, whatever it is. But we come to that through different doors. And sometimes those doors are happy doors. Sometimes the doors are sad doors. Sometimes the doors are broken and hanging out the hinges. And sometimes they're, covered in gold. You don't know. And it's interesting connecting with people and hearing their story and being able to not judge while they're telling their story. You can be surprised, you can be shocked, you can be dismayed, you can be, engaged and laughing, you can be a bunch of reactions, but to sort of judge in advance of the story or even hear the story and go, oh, I would never, how could you possibly, but don't you, and do you change your opinion of that person? I don't know. Obviously, I'm not talking about obvious things like you find out they're a raging racist. I mean, like, just the journey of their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, from that, how could you possibly be a good actor or director or storyteller if you didn't appreciate that all of us are flawed, and it's in those kind of flaws that we are interesting.
Correct. That's a great way of saying it. Which is why Instagram sucks. It's why it's like it's like we have found a way to make everybody on the planet feel like shit. And that's
Yeah.
social media. We found a way.
Oh, it's horrible. It's
awful.
horrible.
Because you wake up and look at everybody's perfect life but yours. And by the way, it's all bullshit. It's not a perfect life. It's a photo they took and posted, and then they took a dump or whatever they did. Like, it's not a perfect life. It's a moment, and it's doctored, and it's fabricated, and it's glossy, and it's whatever it is for that one moment. But as opposed to seeing who people really are, which is what you just said, which is correct. It's the flaws that make you fascinating, right?
Mm. And instead we have this sanitized, homogenous field out there where everybody's too afraid to sort of be themselves and everybody's just trying to sort of tiptoe along, and it's become boring. I mean, how do you feel in working in this sort of field about people sort of looking back and saying, oh, that film is problematic? A film that was made in the 40s.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I'll speak for the United States, since that's my home country. We have a history of racism for sure. We had slaves.
Oh,
we have
God, yeah.
a very, 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 very checkered past. Art is a reflection of the times during which it is made. And sometimes bad decisions are made, and later on they look even worse through the lens of time. Maybe they didn't look that bad at the time because that was accepted, but when a society educates itself and realizes that things shouldn't be accepted, you're going to have, look, it's like you find that photo of your dad in the bell bottoms. Dad wore those bell bottoms. They were optic green, they were too tight, and they had a white belt, and he wore them to the office party. You don't know why. You don't think it's a great call. He didn't wear them yesterday. These are years ago, and there's that photo, and there's nothing we can do about that photo. And he wore the Nixon mask, and he got a couple of laughs from the gals in the typing pool, and it was a decision. And there it is. It lives. We can't change it now. That's filmmaking, art, whatever. It's a sort of a grand version of that. Sometimes we took pictures in the neon spandex bell bottoms, and we're stuck with it. I don't think you can go back and crop out the pants. I think you have to look at that and go, this is what we did, and it was dumb, but we only know it happened because we could lie and say we were never like that, but that film, that photo, that sculpture, that book says otherwise. So we have a frozen memento of history to remind us that we are an evolving species, that we were wrong and we will continue to be wrong for all time because there is no way to not continue to better yourself, or to need to better yourself. But I think what you're really asking is, do we judge that? Do we look back and go, how dare they? I don't know. I don't know how helpful that is, because it was what it was, and now it's already passed.
Yeah. I mean, if you can look back at it and say, oh, wasn't that awful? Then that shows progress.
Bingo.
Great.
If you look at it through a modern lens and go, whoa, and believe me, I do. And just because having kids, I'll go, let's watch this great movie that I loved in high school. And I'll pop it on, and 5 minutes in, I'm like, let's not. Oops. Because at the time, I wasn't even thinking that there was something inappropriate towards women or racially charged. And I'm not talking woke. I mean, like, obviously bad stuff. That's like, oh, no, crap, man. That wouldn't even make it past development right now. We're out. Not good. I don't want my sons to see that and think it's funny. So, yeah, you learn from it. You become better because of... I'm not sorry I saw those movies in high school. They didn't make me a bad guy. They didn't ruin my relationships with women or people or humanity or, taint my ability to see society through educated eyes. But I certainly don't want to rewind the tape and make my sons see the world through a 30-year-old prism. They need to understand history. They need to see history. And I mean, I'm talking about dumb comedy movies like It's History. But it's a moment in society's reflection of itself, right? Because you make movies that look like what's going on then.
Here's an interesting question. If we did a movie now based on something back then, do we still make the characters as problematic as they would have been, say, like, men of the 50s. I mean, we did, didn't we, with Mad Men?
You were literally
and that worked.
Took the words out of my mouth, Mad Men. But Mad Men did a really good job of examining it. Like that's as perfect a show as you're going to get in terms of taking a period and being honest about the period and taking the gloss away. Because there certainly was a gloss in 1950s television to paint the perfect family, the perfect relationships, dad and mom. I think dad and mom didn't sleep in the same bed in the 50s TV world. You know, like it was its own quirky world and it was perfect, and dad ran the house and mom ran the kitchen and the boys and girls were all neat and clean and well-educated and well-spoken. Mad Men kind of took that and turned it on its ear and showed us a glimpse of the 50s.
People were quite normal back then. That's a relief.
Yeah, smoking their face off, drinking their face off, dalliances right and left.
It's true.
And unhappy people. Yeah, man. I thought that was a great show for that reason. So you can do it like that. But I think if you go back and one of the movies that my generation of guys loved growing up and that we kind of, my dad friends and I are kind of like, oh, that didn't really hold up well. Hard to show that to your kids now is 16 Candles. Do you remember that movie?
Yes. Who was the lovely actress who played the lead? I can't remember.
Molly Ringwald.
That's
Molly Ringwald. And she was a big movie star. The movie was a massive hit. John Hughes movie? I think that's right.
Yes. I think it was, yeah.
And just a classic, but you go back and watch it and man, like there's some stuff in there that you go, oh, wow. Yeah, no. I can't show that to my kids. It does not.
And it's the 80s as well. It doesn't feel like a huge amount of time, but I mean, I guess it's 40 years
yeah,
ago.
I know. I feel like the 80s was yesterday, and
I know,
and
me
I'm
too.
not right. It was a long time ago.
We still think we're dead young, don't we? That's the problem.
It's so sad. I do. I think I'm still in touch, and I get it, and I know what's what. And that my sons are around to remind me that I do not, and I do not, and I do not.
Well, who's here to check me apart from a 7-year younger brother?
Well, I mean, you are. I don't know. You're married, correct?
Yes, I am. To Tom.
To Tom. I remember Tom's name from us talking. So is Tom your age or close to?
He's 10 months younger.
Okay, so he's no help. He's like right in the same, like he's the same age. Yeah,
he's just as useless as the two of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Born in the 70s, you know, back in a kind of more innocent era, really, when we didn't have mobile phones and the internet didn't come around until, well, for me, it was like, you know, I don't know, my late teens. For you, would have been your mid-20s.
Yeah, correct. I don't. It's funny when we talk about things being more innocent. I mean, you look at the 70s and 80s, and you know, from a financial and cocaine point, I feel like you watch movies, it's always like rich kid, you know, Less Than Zero and Wall Street, and you know, I don't know, maybe it wasn't all that innocent, but it certainly was. It certainly was not a time filled with constant bombardment of stuff. I have children. And one thing children do not know how to do, and it's not their fault, it's our fault, they don't know how to be bored. And I tell you, the world's going to pay a price for that. Because if you put a digital device in a kid's hand, they're never bored. They're always watching something. But maybe that's great. You and your wife can have dinner, and the kid's not throwing a fit. But I'll tell you what else is happening. They're not learning to be creative. They're not learning to explore parts of their mind that will go unexplored unless they are bored. They're not learning to tap into talents they don't know they have because out of a loss of anything else to do, they sit down at the piano or they dink around with something and realize, oh shit, this is kind of fun. I wonder what I can do with this. And it leads to another idea. The absolute lack of boredom. And it's also, I mean, boredom built friendships. You'd be bored, so you'd go to a neighbor's house. You'd be bored, so you walk down the street to see a kid that you didn't know and just go, ding dong, you want to play? You know what I mean? Like, I found a stick. You want to come look at it? and to kids who are listening to this, if they do, and they might think, oh my God, I would take my own life if that were my childhood. But you wouldn't, because it was actually great. It was actually fun and
fantastic.
It forced you outside. It forced you to explore. It forced you to connect with people or connect with yourself in a way that is not forced right now. And I'm telling you, society will pay a price for it. I may be dead and buried when they do, but there will be a cost for kids not being bored. The world is not going to be built on mastering Instagram ads. It's just not going to be what propels us into the future with glory.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by MPB, the largest global platform to buy, sell, and trade used photo and video kit. Every week, we'll be chatting with the very lovely photographer and MPB ambassador Ian to take a closer look at different bits of equipment. What are we going to be discussing this week, Ian?
So this week is how to choose a good travel camera. So there are many reasons why you might not want to take your big camera and entire collection of lenses with you on holiday. Weight being one of them, as well as portability. And maybe even your loved ones might not be too happy about you turning a relaxing vacation into a photography trip. So fortunately, there are plenty of cameras deemed perfect for travel. So the main considerations are weight, portability, while sacrificing the least amount of functionality. So we have fixed lens cameras like the Ricoh GR series, which have a 28mm or 48mm equivalent lens, depending on which one you choose, and have pretty much every functionality built in that you can dream of. Equally, there's a Sony RX100 series, which incorporate a fixed zoom lens, if that's what you prefer. And finally, you can still enjoy a small form factor with interchangeable lens cameras like the Fujifilm X-T10 or X-T30, as well as Canon's M50, which will allow you access to each of their respective lens ranges.
Thanks, Ian. That's great advice. Now we just need to book a holiday. If you'd like to find out more about anything Ian discussed today, then do check out mpb.com. It's sad, isn't it? The creators of the world, the dreamers, are they still being born? Have we got a bright future? Oh gosh, this was supposed to be fun. I invited you on here to have fun.
We're all having fun. We're talking about how doomed we are.
And so you had a very similar childhood to me then. You sort of ran around fields, built dens, swung from trees, got chased off various farms by the farmer.
Exactly. I broke a few mailboxes, got yelled at. I feel very fortunate to have had my childhood. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, which I just love as a town. I love the South as a part of the country. Still consider myself a Southerner, even though I haven't lived there for more than half my life. I've been in Los Angeles longer than I've been than I was ever in the South or in Nashville, but still consider myself a Southerner, which my wife will often say, but you've been in LA longer. I'm like, hey man, if I were walking around here with a French accent because I was raised in Paris, I would say, I'm French, but I live in Los Angeles. Well, I still have a Southern accent. I'm still Southern, so I call myself Southerner.
Cute.
But no, man, I loved it. I mean, I grew up in a cool neighborhood that was a dead end, which leads to woods, which leads to going out in the woods all the time, finding an abandoned shack. We called this place, we literally called it the shack. We're like, I still don't know what it was, but we'd go there and hang out, see what new spray paint some teenagers had put up, and just exactly what you're talking about. Went to a camp where we fired guns. Like, I don't think there's a camp right now in the United States where they would get insurance to go fire rifles. Let 10-year-olds shoot 22s. But it was awesome. It was great, man.
Well, that was the only thing we didn't have. We didn't have the guns.
Yeah, I mean, again, keep in mind, there were no school shootings back in my day. This was not the time when people took those guns onto campus. I don't know what happened in society that made that a thing. I mean, obviously, you can legislate gun laws, and I, believe that gun laws should be legislated. But the psychology that drives somebody to take a gun and go do something awful with it, I don't know where that comes from, because people had problems in the 70s too. It seems like they just didn't grab the gun and go to the school to air it out. So, weird,
strange time we live in.
So strange. Because literally we had this camp, Davis Gorham Camp, where me and my buddies all went, would pick us up in a bus that was definitely not roadworthy, drive us to wherever, an hour outside of town. We'd be there 8 hours, then they'd drive us back, and we'd fire bows and arrows that had like points in them, fire 22 rifles, and we would go out, and it was target practice, and then we'd want to collect the lead, the beat up bullet, which I loved. I wish I still had my collection. And we'd go out to the wood and pop out the lead out of the wood. Well, behind us is still a bunch of 10-year-olds holding their 22s. It's not like the 22s are now in the locked cabinet and we're out there. Like, we'd go, hold on, and we'd run out and try to get the thing out of the or take the, we shot a good shot, so we want to take the target down to keep it, and still a bunch of gum chewing kids back there with weapons in their hands that are loaded and ready to go. And
I'm trying to think of
we all survived, You
all survived. It's still here to live to tell the tale.
Indeed.
I'm just trying to think of a British equivalent. I think it was like before health and safety guidelines came in, we had like playgrounds with concrete floors.
Oh, well, you remember those slides and stuff, like in our childhood, those super long steel slides that would heat up like the surface of Mars. You could fry an egg on them, and you get on your shorts. And part of the joy of sliding down was to get the F off of it before you suffered third-degree burns in your inner thigh.
Oh, God, yeah, I remember. And feeling that squeaking and knowing that you'd have given yourself a sort of skin burn.
Oh, my God, yeah. Because you're a little too sweaty for the slide.
Oh, gosh.
Or the monkey bars that had, like, they weren't quite planted into the earth. So it'd kind of rock back and forth, and you'd be trying to swing, and you'd fall, and they'd have a bar under you, which is not a great design. And so you'd land on the bar on your side. I mean... Yeah.
Or those roundabouts which had that bit underneath, and there'd always be some mean kid who didn't have any nice brothers or sisters that would just push you under so your knees would get scraped.
Yeah, dude, those things were also just, a barf machine. Just like, oh, you want to barf? Sure, hop on.
So this is how we both ended up so creative because of our kind of, dangerous childhoods of innocence. And
but you do it, I remember when we first had our first son, and all these other parents were like, oh, you got to put foam things on the corners of all your tables, and you got to cover the outlets. And I guess to a certain extent, that's great because kids probably got electrocuted. And we put the caps on the outlets. We opted not to put the foam on every corner because we're like, man,
there's a line.
Yeah, and I don't know why that was the line for us. We're like, I don't know. We don't want to create a Nerf home for our child. I mean, at a certain point they're gonna fall and hopefully not get massive cranial damage. It's just like fall, and nick your knee and move on.
Yeah, it's how you learn.
Yeah, I know. Small version of that, but I think that like that just how we approach childhood. There's a lot about the 70s and 80s because I played a lot of sports my whole life. And I there's a lot I learned about life from coaches. And I know that people are thinking, oh, the great speeches at the end of the game or the pep talk before the game. No. I mean the whistle to the helmet when you screw up. I mean you talk out of turn, so you're just running around the field in 90-degree heat in your helmet and shoulder pads while everybody else takes a water break. Like, that crap is a great educator and leveler.
You don't get that anymore.
No, you don't. You can't make a kid do that. Somebody would have a conniption fit. Some mom or dad would be like, but he's too short or too tired or too... don't punish my boy. I say boy because I only have sons. So that's all my reference I know. But I always joke with my sons. I'm like, it may be 2024 out that door, but it's 1979 in this house. So mind your P's and Q's, boys.
Good.
Yeah, I know. I'm the strictest dad in the neighborhood, much to their chagrin. But they also kind of like it.
Yeah, I think kids like structure, don't they, and discipline, really. You need to know where your boundaries are. Otherwise, how are you going to learn?
I think so. I mean, I completely think that's a necessary element to raising cool kids is knowing when you stepped over the line. That's also friends, right? Like we forget the internet. Like so I'm going to go back to being positive here. You know what the thing we talked about social media, what you don't get in social media is, if I put a post up and you responded with "ugly shirt, Rich." Don't do that next time. Dress better. And I was like, holy smokes! Like you would text that. Maybe you were joking, and I can't hear the tone of your voice.
Yes.
Maybe you're not joking, and you're tired of the navy blue and me wearing it. But you go about your day, send that, whatever. I read that, and it wrecks my day. I'm like, oh my God, oh no, do I take like it sends me on this spiral. That happens in conversation, completely different interaction. You say, hideous shirt, Rich, and maybe you're being ironic, you love the shirt. Maybe you're being, give me a hard time because we've been on the road together and I've worn the same shirt 5 days in a row. Maybe you are actually in a bad mood and you're lashing out. Whatever it is, and I go, whoa, or thank you, or you want to borrow it, or whatever. But there's a back and forth that continues that thought in immediate time, and nobody walks away with any feelings, positive or negative, about it.
Yeah.
Friendship, human interaction, back to what we were talking about originally. That is what is so valuable. That's what feeds me. That tennis match, even something as simple as that conversation I just described. That's what makes humanity fascinating. Knowing that you're annoying somebody by the way they raise their eyebrow. Things you can't see online, body language, you know what I mean? All that stuff. You got to be a reader of people, but the only way to be a reader of people is to be around people.
Yeah, exactly. And so the world is now so digital and people are in their little kind of bubbles and it's not making us much better, is it?
I don't think so, because I think that like I can't read, if you send a post of you talking about your show or whatever, I don't know if you're having a bad day or a good day. I'm not around to see the before and after, and I can't read. You might have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes of that, and you're like, nah, I seem too sour. No, I don't. I didn't hit that word right. So you're curating the perfect thing you want to present.
Yes.
Right, and that's fine. That's a business. That's what you're doing. You're trying to drive traffic to your show, but it doesn't make it creates a false sense of I know Katie when I don't. If that's all I know about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally get it. It's not giving that feedback loop that we need as humans.
Correct.
And I suppose you get the same when you're acting, when you're on the set. You know, you've got your script, but you still have to sort of, act that way to sort of get each other to sort of have that genuine interaction, which I imagine takes a lot of skill.
I think being a good actor takes a lot of skill. Like being an actor doesn't necessarily, but being a good one takes a lot of skill, because you got to have all your senses dialed in to everything, not just your scene partners, but where you are in the story, where you are in the set, and the director, and other things that are going on, because there are a lot of technical elements. I'm specifically talking about TV and film, not theater. And you might be starting at the end and then going to the beginning after. All those weird things where you've got to be able to chart your emotional journey and be able to pull it apart like a Lego house and then rebuild it, and then also know how to work with somebody in that, and relate to that person and see what they're going to do, because you don't know what they're going to do, and work with them to create the best kind of sequence you can, and listen to the director and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of moving parts to that, and part of that is wanting to be part of the human experience, wanting to tap into what that is, good, bad, or pretty or ugly, wanting to sort of capture what that feels like and have it feel real, and have it feel like you are a fly on the wall of something that's actually happening if you're a viewer. That's where I get the question a lot, like, hey, does being an actor make it hard for you to enjoy TV and films and that kind of thing? Or does being a director make it harder for you to watch shows? The answer is the opposite. I think I enjoy, because I know how hard it is to make the sausage, I love getting lost in it when it's great. Yeah.
You know the recipe, but if you see it on screen, and it definitely tastes good.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm sucked in, man, then not only do I love it, but then afterwards I'm like, and I'm a tough audience kind of. I mean, I'm not really a tough audience. I'm actually a pretty easy sell. But I mean, something's good, it's good. And I like to get into it, and I don't sit there. But I will also celebrate things. I'm like, oh my God, did you notice blah, blah, blah? And my wife will, like, no, I didn't. But we both loved it. I just loved it, and I noticed something on top of it because I recognized that something was very complex or whatever it was, if that makes sense.
What was the last thing that you watched that you really thought, oh yeah, this is great?
Shogun. My wife and I just finished it.
Wow, okay.
Series on Hulu. It's so good.
Okay.
And culturally fascinating because it's historical. It's set in the past, set in Japan, and it's just a fascinating, albeit televised, but television window into that story and world and the characters. We both found it fascinating. It's also gorgeously shot. So it's a feast for the eyes and just so well done. I thought it was great.
All right, I'll put it down on the list.
What are you watching? Like, what's your thing?
Oh, I'm useless at the moment, not watching anything really. I just watched...
Oh, because of, being down for the count a little bit?
But I watched this film. Have you seen Saltburn yet?
I have not seen Saltburn. I know that I hear it's great.
It's really good. Quite a few twists.
Yeah. That's on my list. I watched, Oscar-wise, I think I watched everything, almost everything. Do you have a TV show? Do you watch TV at all? Or is that your thing?
Yeah, I'll watch TV shows. I'll binge. I just can't.
So what's your most recent binged series?
Oh my goodness. We're starting to watch Succession.
Man, I love that show.
Starting to watch that.
That's a great one.
So I'm just getting into that. I'm a bit behind on everything at the moment.
Well, I am, weirdly, I'm able to say that I just watched Shogun, which is a new show. That's really rare. I'm usually really behind. For example, my wife and I don't always have a show going, but we're trying to force ourselves to do that because, A, there's a lot of good stuff. B, it's like nice to unplug at the end of the night. You know, it's nice to take a break from all life and stuff, and the boys are older and they're off doing homework. So we're trying to
switch off
to make sure we do that, which is why we said, let's watch Shogun. Let's start a show. And we enjoyed it. So we're like, well, let's start another show on the heels of that show so we can get right into it. And what we picked was, talking about being behind, season 1 of Fargo.
Oh.
Because people say Fargo is really good.
Oh, it's really good. Obviously, I've seen the film, but I haven't seen the TV series, and I've heard that's just as good, if not better.
Right. So I love the movie, and so obviously I kind of stayed away from the TV show because I'm like, why would they make a TV show of that movie? It's great. Well, it's awesome. It's real. I know it's awesome because people have told me it's awesome for 5 years, but now I'm just watching just episode 1 of season 1, and it's just that episode is phenomenal. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be a fun ride.
That's great. It's nice to know that everybody does that, no matter whether they're based in LA or Manchester.
Get behind?
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so much out there.
I know.
There is so much content. I was on Supernatural. I never watched Supernatural. Like we're my buddy Rob Benedict and I, who I believe you've also met.
I did.
An actor on Supernatural and a funny dude. He and I have a podcast. It's a Supernatural rewatch podcast, because Supernatural Then and Now, where we started at the beginning and we watch an episode and we don't watch it on the podcast. We watch it right before the podcast and get in and review it, have somebody from the show, cast, director, actor, technical person on the show to interview. Anyway, the point being, we're watching the show. We've been making a living off this show for a long time.
Oh, a long time.
Actors, as directors, or for me as a director, and then as convention guests for a long time. And we don't know what the hell we're talking about. We don't watch the show. So now we're being forced by contract to watch this show, and it's fascinating. But my point being, even something you work on, you don't have time to soak it all in sometimes.
Yeah.
15 seasons of a show?
It's a
Good
lot.
Lord.
It's a big project. And you've, like you say, you've been working on it. And you're really close to Rob, and you've been doing lots of conventions around the world. And is it kind of nice, nostalgic to go back and sort of look at where, because you play quite a significant role in that show.
Yeah, it's fun to go back and watch the show. I think it's really fun to watch the early seasons to see why people love it.
Yeah.
because you can see. Just like I told you that Shogun is great and that Fargo, the first episode, is great. Well, the pilot of Supernatural is fantastic. I mean, it's just so well done. And the idea is great. The two lead guys are great. Every guest star is great. And it's directed and shot beautifully. So much better than the average show of that time. You know, you got to go back 20 years. And it was up against, maudlin teenagers bitching about high school, and then you have Supernatural. It's a very different experience. And yeah, man, it holds up so well. So it's nostalgic in so much as Rob and I have been on the road forever, especially with the conventions, and people have tattoos of things and they have quotes that they cheer about and use all the time. And Rob and I are like, yeah, that quote, but we don't know what that quote's from. And so now we're seeing, oh, that's why you got that tattoo. Oh, that's that quote. Oh, I see why it's so impactful. Oh, so that part of it is really interesting.
And it's been really popular, hasn't it? You've done really well with it.
The podcast is doing, it's doing pretty well because people rewatch that show. It's a show that people revisit all the time.
Yeah.
So for us to rewatch it, it's not like they watched it once, they don't want to watch it again. They watched it once and probably twice or thrice and are happy to talk about it with their own social groups. And now that we're doing it, we're bringing on people they don't necessarily hear from.
Yeah.
So it's not just an actor from the show. We have the camera guys. We have the producers. We have the writers. So if they're anything like I am, they like to hear about how the sausage is made. They like to hear from the people who made the show what that was like. I love that stuff. And so I love being a part of a show that brings that to them. And what's shocking about Supernatural, I say shocking because I don't know how much it is consistent through every show on TV, but the crew was largely the same crew the whole time. There was some change,
wow,
but a lot of people were there for 15 years. And even if they weren't, almost everybody enjoyed their time there. Obviously, there are exceptions to that, but almost everybody enjoyed their time on the show as an actor or as a crew member and is excited to come back and talk about it. And remember the show and their episode in ways that I will forget what we talked about as soon as I log off. People are remembering a show they shot 20 years ago in great detail because something mattered to them. It's really cool.
That's really cool. I can imagine you become like family in a lot of cases. You just stay in touch with people for years and years.
Well, certainly the actor group of Supernatural is like that because we travel together for conventions. Rob Benedict's a perfect example. I never acted with Rob on Supernatural.
Yeah.
We were never on screen together.
Yeah.
But we're best friends and we work together all the time. And we created a show together, Kings of Con. We do podcasts together and we're on the road together all the time because of conventions, because of the auxiliary satellite industry that Supernatural gave rise to.
Yeah.
In many ways, I always say it's either like being in a band or like being in the traveling Broadway show of something because you're constantly performing. You go to a town, you have dinner, you enjoy each other, then you go wake up and then get on stage and entertain all day, then go back and have dinner, then entertain all day, then get on an airplane and go home, and then do it again a week later or 2 weeks later, Fascinating.
It's fascinating. And you've still got contacts with Band of Brothers. I mean, I remember that time I was going to meet up with you for a quick drink and Damian Lewis was with you running around London. I mean, that's just so nice. That must just be one of the lovely things about the job. You get to do what you love, which is hang around with nice people and have fun. Right. And then it all kind of, I can imagine like any industry, it's a small pond and it helps to be a people person. It helps to sort of be liked.
It helps. It hasn't always worked. Not everybody's nice and not everybody wants to hang out and not everybody wants to stay connected. And that's fine. I've been lucky to work on some shows where there are people who are, A, it was an exceptional project that bonded us because it was cool. And B, the people involved were just good folk. We were different, but similar. We were, however we came about it, however we arrived where we were in that moment in time, whatever our backgrounds were, we were still decent and decent to ourselves, decent to our friends, decent to the crew, cared about the work, but didn't bring an ego to the table. And I think that certainly is Supernatural, and it's certainly Band of Brothers. And so I have stayed good friends with the majority of that cast because it was a unifying experience. There was no egos involved. Didn't matter if you had no lines that episode or not much to do that episode. If you were part of the Easy Company, you were part of the project and you were a valued member of the team. And most of us were away from our homes. And the British guys were nice enough to sort of be really kind to us while we were in the UK. And then after that, we've all just stayed buddies. Case in point, when I land in England, the two dudes who almost always will drop what they're doing to come hang out, Rick Warden and Damian Lewis, two of my closest buddies from the experience, who they're great friends on their own. And then, I think there was that one time, and I think you may have been there for this one, where Damian, when we got to England, this is years after Band of Brothers aired, we're all just hanging out. I flew to England for a Supernatural convention, and Damian drove from the airport, like he had his car service drop him off at the pub with his luggage so we could cram in a night out before I had to go to work.
Cute. That
right there is friendship. But it's always like, I love going to the UK and seeing any of the guys I can muster. Shane Taylor, Nolan Hemmings, Rick Warden, Damian Lewis, any of them. They're all great dudes, and the Americans are no different. We hang out here. We have a text chain together. We try to see each other once a year at Mike Cudliss's house. We stay in touch, and that's again very rare. That project was a long time ago, but
who's the most trouble?
Say who's the most trouble?
Yes, who's most trouble? Who's most fun?
Well, fun and trouble might not be the same. And by the way, that has changed a lot. That answer is very different now than when
you were kids.
Shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were all unmarried young men, for the most part at least. And our building, which was Rick Gomez, Jimmy Matteo, Matt Settle, Ron Livingston, to name a few, we went out all the time. We went out all the time in London. We made that series. We had just the best time. Ian Bailey. We were all just super social and thrilled to be on the road on somebody else's dime. But those British dudes, man, again, Damien, very posh British fella, but guy loves the nightlife. You know what I mean? Like we had some times. Ross McCall, Rick Warden. Fun. Oh, it's great. It was so much fun.
Good times. So you are also a musician, as we've hinted on, and a big star at that. Is it something, because you're so sort of well known for your acting and your directing, is the music thing something that, you wish you could be known just for?
Oh, interesting question. I'm not sure the music exists without the acting. I've had the ability to record 2 albums now with my alt country band, Dick Jr. and the Volunteers.
Yeah.
Because of the relationships I've made through acting, through Supernatural, mainly. Excuse me, one of the guys on tour with us on the Supernatural tour, and I say he's on the tour with us because he really wasn't involved with the show. He has one song that was played in an episode, a singer-songwriter named Jason Manns. Great guy.
Yes, Jason. How's he doing?
Jason?
Yes.
You were with me,
I met
by the
him.
way. I was with Jason. We hung out in London. Mm-hmm. Like our night out was with Jason Manns.
Yeah.
Nicest guy on the planet.
Lovely guy.
And Jason sort of is the guy who spearheaded the whole idea of you should make an album. You need to record. And he produced the first album, sings on it, and was, to say he was essential in the process is underselling it, because there would be no process without him. He really wanted me to do it, stayed on me to do it, convinced me to do it, and then was around the whole time as my producer when I did it. So that was, without him, there is no album. And second album, that album turned out great, faced the speed bump of COVID, but it was a great experience and the music was great. So we did it again, and this time he farmed off producing duties to Billy Moran, who's just a wicked guitar player and had just released his own solo album. and was looking to produce something else. And so Billy and I know Billy from the Supernatural convention circuit as well. He's the lead guitar player for a band called Loud and Swain, and Loud and Swain goes with us on the road all over the United States and sometimes abroad as the band on stage, because the way the conventions are done, it's like Jimmy Kimmel. You know, there's a band, the band plays people on and off,
Great.
and Billy is the guitar player for that band. So we know each other really well as guys. And so he came in and brought a whole different sort of aesthetic to the second album. So long way of saying, I don't think I can divide the two. I can't separate the two passion projects, if you will, the acting and the music, because they're so inexorably linked.
So the thing that does link everything that you do, definitely fun. You definitely know how
Yeah,
to
for
have
sure.
fun.
I mean, even the album, man, like the album is like, my goal is like, I wanted people to put it on and have it be a toe tapper, for lack of a better word. And yeah, there's one or two slower songs, but it's a fun, it's fun. It's meant to, you're supposed to hear it while you're playing pool in a bar and go, I like this. This is a groove. I could boot scoot to this.
Boot scoot? What's this?
Boot scoot,
Boot
man.
scoot. Never heard that before.
I think I did a little bit of line dancing reference to the
okay.
sort of southern line dancing.
Nice.
But yeah, so like it is, and here's the thing: we're talking about fun. I love what I do for a living, and it's not always easy to get to do what I do for a living. Meaning, even right now, I wish I were shooting something. I'm not. I'm between gigs. It's the way it works. There are downtimes, and then there are times when you work. Then there are more downtimes. Then there are times that you work. And the times that you work, the downside is you might be away from your family. But the work itself is just, I get to do for a living what I dreamt of doing as a child. I get paid to go do it. Be it play guitar on stage, say somebody else's words on a sound stage, or direct actors in the cinematic storytelling of a great TV show or movie. And I just absolutely love that. And so even when it's hard, it's fun. Even when it's shitty, it's great. Even when you're cranky, you're happy. It's supposed to be fun. It's also supposed to be hard. Those things can coexist.
100%. You've kind of answered my next question, which was, what advice would you give to creatives who may feel pressured to take themselves too seriously in their, I suppose, pursuit for success?
Look, man, your energy is contagious. And if you're in any kind of leadership position, meaning you're a lead actor on a show, or even a supporting actor on a show, or you're directing something, or you're producing something, or you wrote something, remember that you carry with you a blast radius, whether you like it or not. That how you handle your challenges is going to be passed on and permeate the energies of other people. So, certainly when I'm directing, when the defecation hits the oscillation, and it always does, you have to absorb it, pivot, and solve it, and move on. You can't it can't become a trash can throwing exercise in imploding or exploding. And by the way, I've seen that happen. I don't make that up. I've seen people flip out and kick a chair and blah, blah, blah. Does nobody any good. There's nobody any good. There's always going to be things that happen, things that don't go right, things that you wish had happened otherwise. But you got to get a bird's eye view of they are happening on a set where you are making a show, which is what you want to do for a living. So this problem that you are overwhelmed by is a problem that people would kill to have, because they'd love to be on a set making a show, or they'd love to be on stage playing with a band, or whatever. So every now and then you got to step back and go, okay, this is shitty, but it's shitty in a really awesome way, because now I got to figure out how to make the scene better, or now I got to figure out how to change the dialogue, or now I got to figure out this, and this. And I'm doing it while doing the thing that I dreamt of doing as a child. So do I really want to shit on this moment? Or do I want to soak up this moment and go, man, this is really, really hard, but this is also really, really awesome? I think you've got to just remember things and keep in perspective. I remember one time, I don't fly private. I'm not that guy. Not because I don't like flying private. I flipping love flying private. I don't have the money for it. Like nobody's flying me private. But I've had in life the opportunity to be on somebody else's plane. And I was with another actor at one point, and I was walking towards that plane, and I go, hey, you've flown on this a bunch. Does this still blow your mind? Because I've flown in it a couple times, but I'm still like, holy moly. And he's like, yeah, it kind of does. I'm like, good. It always should. If it ever doesn't, let me know, and I'll smack you. Because this should always blow your mind. This should always be crazy. I remember riding around in a golf cart on the Warner Brothers back lot when I was directing Lucifer. And I was with one of the executive producer writers on that show, Mike Costa. And I was riding around, and I was like, wow, that's where they shot blah, blah, blah. And, oh, my gosh, that's the... And he's like, have you not been here before? I'm like, I've been here a bunch. I just think it's really cool that we're on the back lot of Warner Brothers, which has been around since the silent movie era, was the biggest soundstage in America because they used to do... synchronized swimming sequences in it, needed to get the camera high, and they couldn't get the camera high enough, so William Randolph Hearst paid to get the soundstage raised so his girlfriend at the time could be in this big sequence. Like, I love that stuff. And yeah, the job I was going to do was going to be really hard, but I'm going to love where I am while I'm doing it, and I'm going to love what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And I remember Mike at the same time was like, wow, you're right. This actually really is awesome. And that's what I mean about the energy being contagious.
Yeah.
I'm not a kid. I'm an adult. I don't walk around going, gee, Willikers, life is a miracle. But I do tend to try to enjoy what I have. And when I'm not enjoying what I have, I try to surround myself with good buddies who go, hey, man, maybe you need to exhale and take a look around you and realize you got 3 healthy kids. You do this for a living. Your wife still thinks you're pretty all right. Like, perspective, and perspective is everything.
Yeah.
And perspective brings joy because when you stop and think and realize and then embrace, you've given yourself a moment to recalibrate yourself and go, this is pretty cool. Or this is not cool, but this will pass. There is turbulence on every flight. But we took off, and odds are we're going to land. Might be a little bumpy on the journey, but we're going to be okay.
Love it. You're like soundbite central. You've done this before. You do this for a living.
Well, I also have been told by my friends, because I'm Southern, I speak in a lot of colloquialisms, which I don't necessarily mean to do. It's just I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and she spoke in colloquialisms, so I tend to do the same.
Do you have a favorite?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, we always used to use the term, got to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Ever heard that?
Yeah, I think I have. I don't know where I've heard that, but I like it.
That's just kind of a classic. Make something good. It's like making lemonade out of lemons, right? That's the idea of taking something, make it lovely out of something that's not necessarily lovely if you don't reinvent how you look at it. That's always a good one. I used one I was in Rome at a convention recently, and we've been doing that convention for a lot of years. We're great friends with the people who run it. And I said something along the lines of, well, you do this, you do that, and then boom, Bob's your uncle. And is that a UK phrase? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the woman is like, why? What does this have to do with your Uncle Robert? I'm like, no. What I'm saying, she's like, why did you say I have a uncle named Robert? I do not. I said, no. So I was trying to explain, it just means, and there you go. Things are as they should be, It was funny translating that in a second language. It doesn't always work. My colloquialisms, much to Rob Benedict's chagrin, because he travels with me a lot, don't always translate well into other languages.
I can imagine, but you certainly have fun.
I do my darndest.
Yeah. Well, honestly, this has been huge fun. Great way to end the season. Thank you so much, Richard, for chatting with me and catching up.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love that we are friends. I love how we met. I love that we've stayed in touch and have actually seen each other in various parts of the UK over the years. And, you know, it's a testament to the human connection that we are still fond of each other after all these years and all this distance. So I'm proud of what you're achieving in your podcasting world, and I appreciate being a part of it.
Thanks, Richard. All right, I'll see you soon, yeah?
Yeah, you will.
If you'd like to find out more about today's episode, you can visit creativeboom.com/podcast and check out our show notes. A huge thanks to our sponsor MPB for making this season possible. Thanks once again to all of our guests, and thanks to you, the listener. We hope you've enjoyed every episode. Did you have any highlights? Would you recommend us to others? It always helps to leave us a review or give us some feedback, and you can do so via all the major platforms. That just leaves me to say, be nice to each other, have a wonderful summer, find someone you disagree with and become their friend. And we'll see you for another season this autumn with loads more interesting, creative guests who will uncover the secrets to success, share all the practical advice, funny stories and honest wisdom that will help you build a booming creative career. Until then.